Party. For those who have never met me, which is the vast majority of you here, my name is Joyce Wright. I am the President of the People's Alliance Party of New Brunswick, and I want to thank you all so very, very, very much for coming. What an awesome turnout. Turn to somebody and say, I'm glad you look so good today. Make them feel good, yeah. That's right. No better place to be than right here today. So, welcome to everybody. We're excited to be here. And I want to thank all the organizers, everybody who's worked so hard to put this together, the musicians. I got a good bass going on there, don't I? Yeah. How we going? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. I don't have a teeny tiny voice to begin with, so if I get too loud, just tell somebody. So thank you to everybody who organized. Thank you to all who came. I've been asked to put in a promo here. We have t-shirts available, and those who've already bought one, if you didn't get your name taken down for a receipt, please go back and tell them you bought one, show the evidence, and they'll get your information so you can get a receipt for that. And our annual general meeting is coming up in Fredericton at the Delta, May the 12th through the 13th. You got to be a member to have voting rights at it. We want to see a whole bunch of you there as well. It always promises to be a good time. Got some entertainment on Friday night and business on Saturday. So there's my business plug for y'all. Now I get on to the good stuff. My involvement with People's Alliance began back in 2012. My husband is a paramedic, and he graduated in 2010 from the Paramedic Academy, although he'd been involved with the previous ambulance services throughout New Brunswick before the ambulance New Brunswick took over. And so anyway, he graduated and he did manage to get a full-time job before the crackdown came on hiring. He's English only because we live in an English area. And in 25 years of working in the ambulance service in our area, only twice has he ever come across somebody that he couldn't communicate with. And always there was a family member there able to. So the next year after he graduated, another paramedic who's related graduated. That's been 6 years. And that paramedic still is not allowed to have a full-time job in our English area because they speak English. Because we refuse to use technology. So when I was going through all this and our family was going through it, and it's just not fair, you know, why can't you, you're qualified, you're trained, you got seniority hours, why can't you do it? And we can use technology, we can use whatever tools are available to our disposal, to make sure that everybody can get treated and everybody can still have a job that they're qualified to do. So I was very, very frustrated, and I tried writing to my MLA at the time, who was a PC MLA, and of course you get the regular old yada 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 back, you know, the stuff they spew out to tell you basically mind your business and don't bother them again. And so I got looking, there's got to be somebody in New Brunswick who's going through what we're going through, somebody who understands that this isn't right. And that's when I came across Chris Austin and the People's Alliance, and I jumped in with both feet, and I've been involved ever since because I believe in what they say. And it goes so far beyond that one issue that first got me hooked. It goes so far beyond that, my goodness, it's just amazing how much common sense it makes. And the more I got involved with the party, the more I decided this is where I need to be investing my time and efforts. I love New Brunswick. Born and raised, I was born in the community that I still live in, and I'm well past the age of 40, so it's been a long time since I've been there, and I love this town. I love my town. I love this province. I love everything about it, well, except the politics of it, maybe. But anyway, I love this province, and so I'm determined that things need to change. So I did run as a candidate in my area in 2014. I obviously didn't become the MLA, but hey, I ran, and it was fun, and I do not regret it one little bit. But what I still hear as I go around talking to people about the People's Alliance, I was talking to a higher profile individual in my town. I won't name names because if I told you his title, everybody would know who he was. Or they can look him up online, and I don't want that. But anyway, so he's talking to me, and I was talking about the party, and he says, yeah, but you're just going to split the vote again. Well, nothing gets my dander up like saying that to me. So we have proceeded to have a discussion about why we've got to get past that mindset of splitting the vote. You're confirming that there's only two choices. There's so much more than two choices. And no vote that's ever cast is a wasted vote, no matter who that vote is cast for. So when people say that you're going to split the vote, don't listen to that nonsense, and don't just say you're confirming that the problem we have in New Brunswick of swinging back and forth between the Reds and the Blues, and then we get mad at the Blues, so we go back to the Reds thinking something's going to be different. Well, they tick us off after 18 months, so we're going to jump back to the Blues next time. The reason we're in that condition is because we've been trained to think that there are only two options. There are more than two options. And here in New Brunswick, there's an excellent option right here in this room, the People's Alliance New Brunswick, with our leader, Chris Lawson, that will help. To give details about how much the party has grown, about how we're exceeding everybody's expectations. I've had a couple of offers, one just as recently as a couple of days ago, telling me basically I should switch my alliances and run next year for a different party. And I said, you're asking me to sell my soul to the devil. Well, no, I'm not doing that. I said, yeah, that's really what you're doing. So anyway, I left the meeting, of course, without making that commitment to him. But I'm just so excited to be part of a party that is so broad-based, that had the best platform of any in 2014. Not many people read platforms. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands because I don't want to embarrass anybody because I didn't even read them all. I didn't read the green one or the NDP one. But anyway. It's good to read platforms. It's good to be knowledgeable when you cast your vote. And we had the absolute best one of all in 2014. It was so broad-based, covered so many topics, had a plan to bring New Brunswick back on track fiscally. And one thing we do know is that after 150 years of Liberal and Conservative reign, we have nobody else to blame, do we? There's nobody else to blame. They're the only two that's ever been at the helm. What we can say about New Brunswick, to borrow a line from a famous movie, is Houston, we have a problem. We are in dire straits here in New Brunswick. Our unemployment rate is so high and it hovers near the double digits all the time. Our manufacturing and our forestry have been decimated. Corporate welfare is second to none. $9 million to a company that's on the verge of bankruptcy. I mean, seriously? That's where our hard-earned tax dollars go? Anytime there's cuts, where do the cuts come from? Always the frontline staff. Always. And then they wonder why our hospitals are in poor condition and people are saying, I caught this or I caught that at their hospital, or the CBC doing investigative reports on the cleanliness conditions of the hospitals. Well, stop cutting our frontline staff. Then there's money on twinning a highway that's questionable. There is the ACP program that they've instituted. How many have heard of the ACP program? You raise your hand if you've heard of it? Okay, in our province right now, we had, up until now, we were the only jurisdiction in North America, most of the civilized world actually, that had what we call primary care paramedics, and that's all we had. Everywhere else has advanced care paramedics. Now our PCPs are great. My husband is one. They do a fabulous job, and they do it to the best of their ability at the training level they have. But there's other levels of paramedic care. And so that next level, the ACPs, the advanced care paramedics, we have 40 or more already in the province and trained, but New Brunswick has no job description for them and no place up until now to let them work. No job description, no pay band for them, nothing. So the ACPs are considered an emergency room on wheels. If you live in a rural community and you're like 40 minutes from an emergency room, certain situations you might encounter in an emergency, you have your best chance of survival if you get to an ER within a certain time frame. If you live in some of our rural areas, you ain't gonna make it, honey. So our ACPs are the emergency rooms on wheels. They go to you where you are, and they can do a lot of those interventions that the ER can do. That's how they build themselves. So our government has put 4 trucks in place in the province with ACPs. They can't use all our ACPs, of course, because of the language restrictions on hiring. But I'm not touching, that's not part of the issue. My issue is if you talk to the paramedics, they're saying, why are we putting the ACPs in places where there are ERs? These are ERs on wheels. Shouldn't they be in places where people are farther remote from the ERs that would save their lives? Do they need an ER on wheels if they're 10 minutes from an ER anyway? So there's some issues that you wonder if they talk to people that boots on the ground that are doing the job. Did they consult the right people when they implement some of these things? And I had somebody say to me once, well, it'll be a cold day and you know where before PANB ever gets any seats. Well, I'm looking around New Brunswick, and I'm thinking New Brunswick is pretty much a fiscal and political H-E-double-O, isn't it? And it's a pretty cold day here. So I'm thinking things look good for People's Alliance in New Brunswick, right? So I want to say to the province of New Brunswick, we have to stop the insanity of jumping back and forth, and when we get mad at one, voting the one we kicked out 4 years ago. This is our third time. Let's see if we can do another one. And we need to say, if we want things to be different in New Brunswick, we have to change the way we vote. And it starts with people like you and I getting involved like you've done today, getting yourself knowledgeable about the issues, and then when that ballot comes, when that chance to go to the ballot box comes, listen to me, I can't even talk right now. When that chance comes to go to the ballot box in 2018, we make our choice to do something truly different for New Brunswick. And we can check that box beside People's Alliance, because you know what? New Brunswick has a lot of problems, and People's Alliance is good for what ails you. So this time, I want to thank you once again all for coming. I hope to see you a lot of you at our AGM. If you need to know anything more about me, or you want a little bit more about me, I said I got a husband, so I'm obviously married. We've had 5 kids, and I got 5 grandkids, and right now I'm an advisor with Sun Life Financial. So it's so good to see you here, so you know a little bit about me and who I am. And it's really good to see you, and it's absolutely my thrill and my pleasure to invite to the stage a man I have such great respect for, a colleague that has, well, maybe I should blame him for being up here today. But anyway, it's my thrill and my pleasure to invite to the stage Mr. Chris Austin, our wonderful leader, who's going to take us